Hey, what's up? This is Synoptic, and we're going to be going through an Empire replay, and that is a 2v2 on the map Bavaria, little clan match between TLG and AVALON. I'm in the bottom right as America, Blonkers is bottom left as America, my opponent Omega is also as America, and Penguin is the Great Britain player. So Blonkers is blue outline in the shot right now, and I'll be in the green. Omega would be red outline. So in terms of armies, we have the artillery superiority. Blonkers has 2 horse art, I got 1 foot art and 1 horse art. Great Britain has 1 horse art. In terms of light infantry, they have the fire advantage. They have 9, or Great Britain has 9 light infantry. He's got 2 Fergs, 6 green jackets, and a ranger. We don't know exactly what America has, but it's not as many. So that's some serious firepower. He only has 2 cavalry, this Great Britain player, so that allows him to have a pretty large light infantry force as well. So heavy on the inf, not very big on cav. And as my opponent advances, so am I. I'm just pretty cautious, I'm not too keen on attacking. There's a bit of a skirmish fight happening on Blonkers' side, but all in around a hill, so Blonkers pushes up his men, all the green jackets fire into the ground, and now he's going to fall back. So that's the end of that little engagement there. So Blonkers has to be real cautious in attacking this, mainly because Ferguson rifles just as powerful as they always are, although I'm pretty sure they're capped to 2 now. At this point I am going to deploy my foot artillery, since I believe I'm in range enough to start harassing the general. Whenever you see the single visible unit in an opponent's army, that is the general's unit. The general can never hide. And if I can get 1 shrapnel hit on that general, and then I would be in a pretty big advantage position. As you see through my army, it's taking part in the mid as well, and now you see the infantry force of my opponent arise from the woods. They're 9 marines, half of them have 1 chevron in experience, and you see the contingent long range army. This is incredibly trivial. I remember talking to this with Blonkers, like what the hell is that? When you want to hold a mid, you're going to need something a bit stronger than light infantry. The mid is almost always the most important part of a team battle. It allows reinforcements between your allies and stops your opponent's reinforcements as well, and also opens up double team attacks to which one of your opponents is going to be unable to help. Okay, here's a little trick that I think we've seen, or not too often. You super stretch your light infantry and put them in the front line to serve as a meat shield, and they're actually very hard to hit when they're super stretched. So you just stretch them out in standard formation, then hit the skirmish doctrine, and they'll stretch much further than they should, and that is what's used to absorb fire. He actually drags in a cavalry unit, and there's only 2 of these, so he has to be real careful. Actually, I think there might be more, but not many more, maybe 2 or 3. Because there's another light dragoon unit here that is being shot at by Blonkers. Always good to aim at cavalry with artillery. Since they're such large units, they take up a lot of space on the field, it's very easy to hit. Particularly with such a accurate weapon as the horse artillery. You see me flailing the mouse at the woods there, that would be an excellent position for Great Britain to take. Maintaining that fire superiority in the woods, reducing his fire, as well as maintaining pressure on Blonkers' flanks. Here's another trivial move. My opponent Omega decides to go frontal against 4 long range, and he just keeps going. He stops here for a second, which is pretty bad. You don't want to give your opponent any time to reload, or any more reloading time. Now as he starts advancing his line infantry, he takes out 6 light dragoons. So now we are aware of the opponent's, America's army. 9 marines, 4 long range, and 6 dragoons, or light dragoons. Now the 4 long range are on their own. Now obviously they can be reinforced quite easily by 6 dragoons, which are very heavy in firepower. So I'm going to begin basic kiting, just because there's absolutely no reason for me to combat 9 marines with 4 line infantry and 4 long range. So I'm going to get my shots off. I'm going to take advantage of platoon fire. Before they can start firing, they need to align themselves. And now here's another little trick. Whenever you see a lot of light dragoons, they will generally try and do the triple line fire, just go behind their line infantry, get one shot off. If you pull back in time, they won't be able to get all the rounds fired. He was only get to have one volley from one light dragoon there. So that entire move is ruined, and we're going to talk about trying to use your units most effectively at all times. And if you keep your opponent's units in that form, just unable to be used properly, then you're going to have a huge advantage. Because by the time he sent his light dragoons to this area now in the mid, he would have already reloaded. So I just got a free shot. Now, the way he's using his light dragoons, they could be put to much better use in my opinion. He's shooting woodland units with 6 dragoons. Now they're being hit by everything I have in the general area, so they're slowly dying, and I am focusing on them with my artillery, my foot art, still in shrapnel shot. Now as he moved his light dragoons to the middle, I harassed his right side with 2 of my cavalry units, and I'm pushing up my line to then harass him back. Now what we're going to see is his light dragoons move back to that position, so they've left the mid, and so now me and Blancas are going to double team the long range contingent over here. So as I said earlier, if using your units effectively, so getting his attention, pulling his light dragoons away from one area, harassing the other side, and just repeating it over and over again, mostly taking advantage of our inability to effectively use or split up his light dragoons. If he keeps using them as one force, then one side is always going to be vulnerable. In this case, his general unit, which is incredibly bad for the morale for his men. Luckily enough for him, he's using marines, which are cheap and very high morale. All have inspire, so when they're all together, they're very hard to rout. So I have some units here, some marines who are very low in number, and only one's routing now, after all this time. Now I position my horse artillery behind a hill, and I'm actually aiming that wrong. I should be aiming at the center of the field, because I'm canistering the hill, which is pretty dumb on my behalf. But in turn, he's also shooting the hill with his dragoons. So after that little double team attack, Great Britain tried to reinforce. He tried to send in some light dragoons, and he sends in a ranger to fight my mid. Although you see one light dragoon routing now, so they pretty much ran into squares, and I shot them down with other units. Now the same light dragoons that took down the long range were sent over here. These are Blanca's long range units, or light dragoon units. So pretty much back rape, and that's basically all she wrote on that side. So in summation, we had a frontal assault from Marines into a falling back contingent, and then just harassing multiple sides of the opposing army, where the light dragoons tried to help out, and they tried to get from one side to the other, and whichever side the light dragoons were not, that was the side we would harass until there was nothing left really. And those light dragoons of Blancas were able to hit the backs of those the enemy light dragoons, all the while my artillery is firing at them, and so are my men. So basically we just neutered those light dragoons completely. So they just ran around the field until they died, basically. So now on the other side of the field, Great Britain still has that light infantry superiority, and Blancas is going to do a long range rush. He's put all this long range in one side of the field just to compress them, so he does have a long range advantage on one side, and he's going to advance his line infantry through the woodland. So he's going to reduce his losses through that area, and he's going to force a retreat. And Blancas is going to follow this up with melee charges. He finds his opponent's line infantry are actually out of place. They're a bit too far back, and it'll be too long before they could shoot into the meleeing troops. So Blancas can keep chasing them without much trouble, and they're going to chase. He's going to chase those light infantry out of the field. But this is one position you don't want to be in. You don't want to be in a line fight, America versus Great Britain. Even their standard troops will be more than enough for America's men. Unless of course you are using the Marines and the Guards. But Great Britain also has elite units such as the Black Watch, who will be pretty damn effective against these line infantry units. So here we do see all of Blancas long range units here. And I actually have one light dragoon unit I left here during the whole time. I actually forgot it at the time of playing, but there it is now. You can see a little bit of it. it's just gonna die pretty much. It just runs into his line and he's gonna focus fire at Great Britain. So basically this is just a matter of momentum. Just charging in my unit. Blanc is allowed to follow up with an attack of his own. You see the blue American flag over there in the background. They're moving into position, taking over the flank. He actually has numerical superiority in terms of line infantry, so what he's going to do on that side is enter melee with his own long range units against the opponent's long range, the Green Jackets, to stop them from firing. Although, as we know, Green Jackets do have the melee advantage. They have bayonets as opposed to the swords of the long range Americans. So you see the green lines. He just keeps turning around the corner, trying to turn his opponent inside out, and it's a pretty risky move as usual. Like whenever you're trying to take a flank with limited cav or no cav, it's very hard to keep your opponents in place. And I believe the long range do a good job of just keeping those units there, because if they didn't enter melee and just lock them into place, they would simply just keep falling back and keep firing. So I think this is Blanca's first game of Empire in the last 4 months. This would be around my 11th game of Empire. I haven't been playing too many Total War games. I myself have been playing a lot of other, mainly single player games. But yet still pretty damn fun. I actually prefer this over Napoleon. It's way more balanced, way more stable, and there's a lot less in terms of random kids who think they're generals. And in terms of the battle now, we see Blanc is taking control of the far left side, and I'm actually coming up with my entire army on the other side. So effectively this is a full encirclement now. Now at this point I really should not be doing what I'm doing. Before you heard me say do not fight against Great Britain line head to head. And I'm just doing that now just to make sure they don't go anywhere. In turn, I'm actually losing a lot of men. I think I'm losing more men in this little fight here than I did in my fight with the American player. But I did want to see this happen. I always like to see full encirclement at the end of a match. Just the amount of the kill rate of the armies is huge. Same with friendly fire. You'll see at the end of the match, we'll see losses and how many people our opponents killed, and we'll actually lose way more men, hinting that we shot each other a lot more than we should have. So in summary, we relied heavily on harassment in order to get the victory. Just keep our opponents from firing their high-powered units, denying them any advantage possible, just attacking where their strong units were not, and maintaining the initiative. Because essentially our opponents use armies in which you move in one group from the front and then just win without really doing anything. So hope you enjoy that. Thanks for watching.